Welcome, Gryphon fans, to this week's Gryphon Nation football show. We're glad to have you. The first quarter, we're going to talk about last week's game with Bryant, which was a really good game by the Gryphons. Played extremely hard. Then the second quarter, we'll talk to our special guest. We got Coach Anisha Johnson of the cross-country team here. And then at the halftime, we will talk about our MVT award winners, most valuable teachers. We've got two good ones, Chris Threet and Charlie Johnson. Then third quarter, we'll talk about this week's opponent, and it's a huge game for the Gryphons as far as playoff chances. We're going to play Jonesboro. And then in the fourth quarter, we'll talk about this week's games, our last week's games of our opponents and how they're going to do this week, and our pick'em portion of the contest. So we're excited to get this thing started, and we're going to go ahead and turn right to Coach Maltbia and talk to us about the Bryant game with the Gryphon offense.
Yes, sir. So from start to finish, Coach, actually, let's go back to the start. From the start, we played hard. Okay, first drive of the game, we had about 8 to 10, 12 play drive. Okay, we didn't put the ball in the zone, but you can
8
tell,
to 10 to 12,
about 8 to 12 drive.
8 to 12, okay.
About 8 to 12 drive, and then even on the second drive, Coach, we ended up, getting first downs, doing the little things that matter in a football game. And I thought we came out hard. Big credit to Chris Sanders and Anthony Jones. I don't think we talk about those guys enough, Coach.
What position they play?
So Chris Sanders plays tight end for us, but the last Friday night he did something that we have to ask of him, Coach. He doesn't do a lot, and that's play right tackle, left tackle, and then we also have Anthony Jones. And so for those kids to step out of the box and do things other than what they usually do or normally do, that's big for them.
It's been a team player.
Yes,
team player. Well, the first drive we took, I think it was a 14-play drive, to be actually. We 14-play drive against Bryant, that's pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. Starting out, they'd been not giving up many points or yards at all. We wanted to control the ball. That was our game plan, control the ball, shorten the game to help our defense out. And it was a bunch of 10-yard battles is what we wanted to make it. And I thought our kids played extremely hard. They came out and they were physical. Yeah. And we didn't make many mistakes during the game. And our Mr. Gryphon of the week, or Anthony Smith, State Farm, Mr. Gryphon Award winner was Jay-Sean Edgeston. And let me talk about Jay-Sean just for a bit. Jay-Sean, the last 3 or 4 weeks prior to this game, he's such a competitor.
Yes, he is.
But he started letting things bother him. Started showing some, a little bit of some attitude on the sideline. Being on the bench, kind of frustrated with himself. This week we really challenged him to be a team player, to just focus on helping, doing whatever he could to help the team. We also started him at linebacker, and we told him, you got to play the whole game. We got some injuries, you have to play. And the kid went out there and played the entire game, had a great attitude, and so we're extremely happy with him, and congratulations. Let's talk to Coach Sessions about our defense, Gryphon defense, against the Bryant Hornets.
Well, Coach, we played sound. We made very few mental mistakes. In the game, we had some missed tackles early that led to their touchdown run. On the first drive, we had some missed tackles, had some opportunities to hit the running back in the backfield, and we missed. So we moved some people around. Last week was a challenge as far as game prep, because not only are they one of the top teams in the state every year, but we also went into it without a single linebacker. From the previous 2 weeks.
Have you ever had a game like that where you have no linebackers?
Never. You touched on Jay-Sean Edgeston. Well, Jay-Sean's been playing defensive line.
Right.
And last week we put him in at our Sam linebacker.
And he played well.
He played extremely well. Yeah.
So it might have been a blessing in disguise. We might have found that gem that we've been looking for. He's only a junior.
Yep. Well, and we had talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We had talked about moving him to linebacker just to try to get our best 11 on the field in some form or fashion, and we didn't pull the trigger on that. But I did think we gave up a cheap touchdown. One play on the touchdown pass. We safety got caught looking in the backfield. But again, that's a kid playing safety that has been playing linebacker.
Right.
We had to move some people around because of people not being at practice and everything else. But You know, everybody sitting in the stands watching the game may not see it, but we're getting better every week.
Right.
You know, and we're laying the foundation for what's going to come next year. You know, and so by us holding those kids out that miss practice, you know, it sends a message to the team that you're going to have to be here. You're going to have to do the things right to get on the field. You can't just show up on Friday and play, and you know, win or lose. And I thought our atmosphere on the sideline was the best we'd had all year.
It was, no doubt about it.
And you know, and I think some of that is because of the discipline that we handed down last week. So, you know, as long as you know, I think we're getting better every week. You know, we've got a challenge in this conference. Everybody's good offensively, and you know, there's no weak team offensively. You know,
right.
Week after week, but you know, 7-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah,
I'll take that. You know, I'll take that playing anybody, and especially a team like Bryant. You know, their caliber and you know explosiveness.
Right.
You know. 3 years ago at North Little Rock, we were down 21-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So, you know,
well, you know,
we're getting in the right direction.
I was proud of our kids, the way they acted at halftime. They were very confident, excited, and we did a good job rallying in the second half. And we will be right back for the second quarter with our special guest. That kind of wraps up the Bryant portion of it. They've got a big game this week. We wish them well, but just awfully proud of our team for last week's performance. We'll see you in just a sec.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Welcome back, Gryphon fans. Here's the second quarter of the show this week. This week we've got a special guest with our cross-country coach, Coach Anisha Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, we'll jump right into it. Tell us about what it's been like coaching cross-country, which really, I know you didn't start the program, but you really kind of did. I mean, there's not been much cross-country here in the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Tell us what it's like to coach cross-country.
It's fun. It's a different type of challenge because you have to really challenge them more mentally than, yeah, they run 3 miles, but it's more like trying to get them prepared to get through 3 miles. Like, right. It's more mental than just conditioning. And when she wants to run, I have one runner, Jamia Jefferson. We practice at 6 in the morning when nobody's here. And it's another mental thing to be knowing that all your friends are sleeping and you're out here running. So it's been fun.
Well,
learning experience.
I use that same kind of philosophy in coaching. When I'm up here at 6 in the morning doing football stuff, I know that Trevor, our offensive coordinator, I know he's home tucked in his little bed,
yeah, sleeping
like motivates me to be better. So, like a little princess, I like that. Gryphon fans, y'all heard that, okay? So
cuddled up under his under his frozen blanket.
Yes.
Yes. Well, tell us this, Coach. Do you coach any other sports here? Is it just cross country?
Softball. Gryphon Nation softball.
You'll be starting that up pretty soon, won't you?
We've been started. We're on day 3 of softball season. This is something they've never had before. It's off season, so it's been fun.
Wow, that's big. Gryphon fans, understand. I think football, we work hard. I know all the other sports do hard too, but she's coaching 6 in the morning cross country, and then you're going to probably till 6 o'clock at night doing softball. Well, that's awesome. Well, tell us about this year's cross country team so far. How many meets have y'all had, and what do you have coming up?
Maybe like 8-10 meets so far,
Wow,
and we
wow.
got conference coming up Monday, and then state is November 3rd. So
Where's the state at?
state is at Oaklawn again.
So Gryphon fans could come down to Oaklawn, maybe go to the casino, have a
Yes,
meal, hit a big
yes.
jackpot, and then go out there and watch cross country.
Come to the race in the morning, go to lunch, and then go to the casino because the race is at like 10:30.
I like it. Well, yeah, I may be there.
Hey,
You know, I play my hand a little bit at the blackjack table.
I'll be
Usually
there.
I donate to the Oaklawn Casino when I do,
I'll
but
be
You
beside
built that hotel there.
I've built that hotel. Coach, do you have a question?
Yeah, so, outside of cross country, and obviously, the coach's life, you already alluded to the fact that you're here at 6 a.m., after school, you're coaching softball. What do you like to do outside of it? What are your hobbies, any interests?
I have a little 1-year-old niece, Delilah Renee, that takes up all my free time. That is my road dog.
So you're a great aunt, aren't you?
Yes, favorite
There's
aunt.
Favorite aunt.
Favorite
there's
aunt. There's nobody that can compete with me.
And her name was Delilah.
Delilah.
So one day, listen to that favorite aunt right here now.
Yes.
So
She'll be up here. I got to get her some Gryphon gear so she can come up here. But she's been to a football game already.
oh, that's awesome. That's
She
awesome.
came to the
Rogers Heritage, maybe the
Conway
big
game.
Conway game.
Conway game.
Ooh, hope we didn't scare her that night.
She liked the bench.
Okay, good. What's your favorite part of this? Is your first year at Southwest?
Yes.
So, what's your favorite part of Southwest so far?
The kids. The kids are the favorite part, and probably the football team might be my favorite. Those boys, they help me in the concession stands on college, whenever I do the college games and the middle school games. They'll see me drowning in the concession stand, knock on the door and say, Coach Johnson, let me in. And we just get the slinging nachos and candy and
That is awesome.
knock
That
the
is
line
awesome.
down.
Well, you hit on something. You do the concession stands for the this weekend games,
Mm-hmm.
and that goes back to the softball team. But we've had 2 college games here with Arkansas Baptist this fall, so that's something new. We have the Saints with the IYFL. They play here on the weekends, and you do the junior high games.
Yeah.
You do the JV games. So you're kind of the concession stand lady.
Yeah.
Here at Southwest. So, well, that's awesome that the Gryphon players are helping you out. And do you have anything else you want to add before we go into halftime?
If you see Jamia or any of the cross-country boys this week or the next few weeks, just encourage them. They're getting ready for conference on Monday, and then they're going to try to do it all again at the same course they just left for Oaklawn. They were just there last week, so they know that course. So Dickens State should be a little bit better once you run a course you've already been on before.
Well, Coach, thank you for being here with us. And Gryphon fans, we'll be right back with our halftime. Again, we've got 2 great MVTs. We got basketball coach and English department chair, Chris Threet, and then we got Coach Charlie Johnson, longtime coach. He's been coaching for like 78 years, and he's probably got another 10 left, he said, for sure. So we'll be right back with our MVT award winners. Thank you.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine. And I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart that there's room for me and mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns, like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, you know, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero. Good job, kitty cat. When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
Welcome back, Gryphon fans, to the third quarter of this week's show. Now let's talk about the big game we have this Friday night with the Gryphons traveling to Northeast Arkansas to play the Jonesboro Hurricanes. Jonesboro is 1-6, same record as ours. This is their first year in the 7A conference. They replaced the Catholic High Rockets, and so this is a big game. Whoever wins Friday night's game has a big leg up to go to the playoffs, because we do have both teams have Central the last 2 weeks of the season. So huge game. Coach, let's jump right in. Tell us about Jonesboro's offensive team.
Well, Coach, they're very multiple. You get a lot of 20 personnel. They even get some three-back sets.
Explain, what is 20 personnel?
So 20 personnel would be 2 backs in the backfield, no tight ends.
Okay.
And so, if you got an H-back and a tailback, we consider that H-back a running back just for personnel reasons. So, we'll get a lot of 20 personnel, and then they'll get into some 30 personnel where they put 2 backs back in the backfield and split backs with an H-back and only 2 wide receivers. So, their identity is running the football. They've got a quarterback that they like to run a lot of counters with him, a lot of sweeps, and they're not afraid to put the ball in his hands running, and because they've got another quarterback they'll bring in as well. So, when you've got 2 quarterbacks, you're really not worried about one, running the ball too much and getting injured, because you've got that other kid you can rely on. So, that's one of the things that you got to see with them. You got to defend all 11 players, because they will run the quarterback. A lot of teams, like North Little Rock, for instance, when we played them, we knew they were down to only 1 quarterback.
Right.
The backup quarterback.
So you knew they weren't going to run the quarterback.
You knew they weren't going to run the quarterback. So we were playing 11 on 10.
Right.
Game like this, they're going to run the quarterback. They're going to do whatever they have to win. The running back they have may be the fastest player I've seen on film. Now, I don't know what his 40 time is. I'm not worried about all that. But I'm talking about as just far as when he hits a hole, turning it on.
Right.
I haven't seen one faster. Maybe Conway's running back would be comparable, but by far one of the scariest running backs we've seen on film. He took a 98-yarder a couple of weeks ago, and then had a big 60-yard run against North Little Rock last week on a sweep, and they had him contained, and he put one move on the outside linebacker and was gone. So safety ended up running him out of bounds, but very, very talented player. Their offensive line is big. They remind me a lot of Hot Springs.
Right.
But similar size to what Hot Springs was. And, we didn't get much pressure on Hot Springs when they tried to throw the ball. Well, that's all it is.
That's what I say.
But, so that's going to be the challenge, is when they do have to throw, because it's not, they're about 68% run, on the season.
Yeah.
Last few weeks have been about 77% run. So, they like to run the football. It's what they do best. And, so when we get them in a throwing situation, we've got to be able to pressure the quarterback. Got to.
Well, you guys heard it here first with Coach Sessions about the Jonesboro offense. Coach, talk to us a little bit about the Jonesboro defense.
Yeah, Coach, another week of another good D-line, okay? Doesn't get much easier. Jonesboro defense, they run a multiple defense. They could run a 3-4 sometimes. They can run a 4-3 or 4-2-5. Like I said earlier, they have a really solid defensive line. Linebackers are pretty solid. Secondary is, they're okay.
Yeah.
And so Jonesboro, they hang their hat on winning at the line of scrimmage, Coach. And I believe this week we must win at the line of scrimmage. For us, Coach, we need to start turning the corner. Okay, if we're going to make a run, we need to make a run this Friday. Yeah. And I think our kids know that. I think our kids need to buy into that, and then, we'll be successful.
Well, one thing about it, I've known Coach Coleman from Jonesboro for years and their staff, and they don't have a lot of turnovers. A lot of the same guys that's been there. They've always been good defensively, very sound, and then offensively they've always been really creative.
Yeah.
They always have something up their sleeve, and it's a winning program. It's a program that probably for the last 15 years, Coach Coleman's kind of turned them take them to another level. This year's got to be tough on them. Going to the 7A, they're struggling a little bit, but they're a team that's worthy, very worthy of much respect from our side, because they are a good football team. Something that Coach did say that kind of thought maybe think of you a little bit,
What's
Coach.
that, Coach? What's that?
Well, he said that Jonesboro has 2 quarterbacks.
Okay.
So when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't worry about the first one getting hurt because you got a second one. So I'm thinking, what if I had 2 coordinators? So I wouldn't worry much about if you got hurt or something, fell down the bleachers, or I had another one right behind you. No, it doesn't work like that.
Irreplaceable. The $1 million question everybody wants to know is if Trevor's headset even works. Are you even listening to it?
Because he's not listening.
Are you even listening?
All right, so I'm going to break it here first.
In the press box.
Trevor's headset does not work. It doesn't. He's up there eating nachos. I don't even listen to him. So, there's one game that did work was Conway, and when we did really bad, he called most of those plays. So.
He was calling the pass plays when we went over.
Yes.
That's it.
All right, Gryphon
I'm not going
fans.
to talk. We've given up a ton of points.
As you can see, Gryphon fans, we've got a close staff. We all like each other. You got to enjoy each other and like each other when you're doing this, especially starting the program up. And so we're awfully happy to have this group of coaches together. You've heard we just talked about third quarter Jonesboro. It's a huge game. If you're out in Northeast Arkansas, come up, put your green and purple on, and come out there and cheer us on. We need every fan we can get. We'll be back in the fourth quarter with our opponents' schedule and record and who they're playing and our picks. We'll see you in just a sec.
If you're buzzed and doing this to make yourself feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
gonna let you go.
All right, sports fans, our favorite part of the show is right here. We're going to talk about this week's our opponents and how they're doing. So let's start with Rogers. Rogers was our first opponent this year. They're 6-1. They're really doing well. They're a top 10 team in the state. Boy, do they have a big one this week. They play the Bentonville Tigers, who's also a top 10 team. The winner of that game probably has a leg up on conference championship out of the West. I'm going with the Rogers Mounties. I'm going with an upset. I know how big that game is up in Northwest Arkansas, and Bentonville's had their way with Rogers for, probably 15 years. Rogers, they've had a great week of practice, I'm sure, and they're ready to go, and it's going to be a good one. Coach, tell us about Rogers Heritage.
Well, Heritage, they played Bentonville West. They lost last week, Heritage did, and Bentonville West upset Rogers. So you got two teams that, you got one team that's kind of down right now and the other team riding a high. And, and I think, Heritage has been a surprise of the season.
Right.
They're sitting there at 3-4. I think Bentonville West, though, will take care of business. Bentonville West's got a little bit more tradition.
Yeah.
And this time of year, tradition matters, as we know.
Well, and I know with Heritage right now, they may be down a little bit, but they're extremely happy to be where they're at. They're in the talk for playoffs, and that'd be huge for them. Coach, talk about Hot Springs.
Coach, Hot Springs last week unfortunately beat Magnolia.
That was your lock of the week,
That
right?
was my lock of the week, Coach. I was wrong. Honestly, Coach, Hot Springs, they're rolling, man.
They still play soft like you said they did earlier.
Coach, I didn't say they play soft. I just thought they wouldn't as physical as us, okay? Other than that, Coach, in all seriousness, Hot Springs, they're rolling, man. They're 5-2. This week they have Texarkana. Not sure exactly where that game is played at, but it doesn't really matter. The game is over probably by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
The next opponent on our schedule was Conway, and the Conway Wampus Cats. They've got 6 legs. They've got 2 arms to fight with all their might, and 4 to run like the speed of light. Conway Wampus Cats. Conway plays Little Rock Central this week, and they're probably only going to need 2 legs. They don't need 6. So I'm going to pick Conway to win. Coach, let's talk about Cabot Bryant.
Biggest game in the state this week. Cabot Panthers against the Bryant Hornets.
Who you got, Coach? Who you got?
Shoot, let me tell you something. Bryant has won 48 in-state games.
Yes, they have.
Bryant has won 4 straight state championships.
Yes, they have.
Okay?
Fast, yeah.
Cabot is 6-1. Bryant is 6-0. Cabot.
Cabot
beats them. Cabot beats them by 2 touchdowns.
Oh my God!
Cabot beats them by 2 touchdowns. Cabot
right.
is by far the most physical team in the state this year.
Yes, they are.
I'm telling you right now. I mean, nothing against Bryant. Bryant, and Bryant can certainly turn it on.
Right.
Okay. But just watching what Cabot did to Conway. I went in, pulled that game from the pool the other night just to watch it.
Just to watch it.
And just watching Cabot play Conway, man, it was just a physical battle.
Wow.
And I'm telling you right now, Cabot's H-back / tight end, Reardon, number 81, can block anybody in the state.
Yeah.
Hands down, best blocker on film I've seen. Cabot rolls.
Bryant fans, listen, I drive through Bryant every day going home. I did not pick Cabot.
Who you picking, Coach? Who you picking?
I'm just saying, I did not pick Cabot. I drive through Bryant every day. All right, Coach Malbia, let's talk about North Little Rock and Northside.
Okay, so North Little Rock, Northside, that's a big game for both those two teams, Coach. North Little Rock, they're 3-3. Northside, they're trying to fight to get into the playoffs right now. I believe last week North Little Rock beat Jonesboro pretty nicely. I believe North Little Rock defensive line, linebackers, and defense in total, okay, is going to control the game against Northside, Coach. I'm taking North Little Rock.
North Little Rock. Well, what that does by North Little Rock, if they do beat Northside, it sets up basically 4 teams at the bottom battling for those 2 spots, and that's why it just makes our game that much more important.
That's right.
Playoffs. Talk about playoffs.
We're talking playoffs and
just
late
October.
Well, Gryphon fans, let me just say this before ending the show. We've talked to our kids all year, especially the last 4 weeks, and very tough opponents the last 4 weeks, about not letting go of the rope. Keep believing, keep fighting, keep worrying about ourselves getting better, and good things are on the horizon for this football team. We are a young team. We learn something new about ourselves every day. And last week we competed our tails off. They didn't give up. That's a great sign of a team that's doing that. And like I told our guys yesterday, teams that play well in late October and November usually play a long time in November. And so we want to get on a roll. It's a big game Friday night, one that we can win. If we don't show up, it'll be ugly. But if we'll play our best and compete, we'll have a chance. And So get out there and support us. We'll see you next week on the Gryphon Nation Football Coaches Show. Go Gryphons.